Alright, welcome back to the next lesson. Here we want to study how to create entity in Spring Boot. In our tutorial, after all that we have done in the first video, the next thing is to define what we call model, and then you start creating your entity. So by entity in Spring Boot, it means what represents the table. Spring This is a question. Somebody asked this question: what is entity in Spring Boot? It tells you an entity is a lightweight persistence domain object. Typically, an entity it represents a table in a relational database, and each entity instance corresponds to a row in the table. In a nutshell, entity in Spring Boot is anything that represents a table. What represents table in RDBMS, Relational Database Management System? So let's create our own here, which is part of the tutorial. To create table, first of all, you need to create a package called model. So to do that, you come to the main package here, right click, and then create what we call new, and create package. Then you give it name model in small letter, please. You see it is representing the main package first, then your own package name. So inside this model, you right click and create what we call a class, and this class you give it name tutorial as an entity. Tutorials, either tutorial or tutorials. Let me confirm from what we have here. It is tutorial. I will correct it. Please, if you check from our folder structure, can you see model here as a package? This is how Eclipse represents package name. Sorry, package as in, and this is the name. Then you have a class here called tutorial. Yes, under the model package. So then I think I don't need any internet now anymore. Guys, okay, end of the what? End of the class. It's like you guys are not with me, and I'll be very fast. So I know you are just waiting for the video. You go and cram the video, and so this is tutorial. Yes, now tutorial, but I'm supposed to write tutorials. Sorry, tutorial, not tutorial. And I want to make correction here. I will right click and I'll do what we call refactor. I don't have to delete it, and then I will rename it. Here, instead of saying tutorials, I'll just make it tutorial. Then refactor it. It has refactor. It's not every time that. Now it's okay. Now, what are the contents of this table? The contents or the entities of the table, that means the member functions and the fields for the table are: one, we have ID, title, and what? Description and published. Alright? But then before then, we need to introduce what we call annotations. I think I gave you an assignment last time to check on what is meant by annotations. So we have an annotation called entity at entity. This is what makes a class, this is what makes it an entity. Please check on these annotations. I don't have to be checking these online for you. So annotations, meanings of annotations, signs and all this. Then in Spring Boot, what is annotation in Spring Boot? So here, if you want to make this class an entity, you now say at entity. At entity, you import the packages from Jakarta persistence.entity. Right? Somebody says that we should import all the Jakarta persistence by saying asterisk. I told them that we do that when we are teaching you how to develop in schools, but now that you have started industry development, actually web application is something that is very, very, that is too much of crucial needs of memory, right? So you should only, invoke or import what you wanted, because the packages over there and the classes inside Jakarta persistence are many. So next is another another annotation called table, and in this table you specify the name of your table. Right? If you know that the name of your table is the same as tutorial, there is no need of bringing this, coming up with this. Please, I did not import it. You hover your mouse around it after the table, after the last word there, E. You press Control and Spacebar. It gives you these options, and then you double click it to import table from Jakarta persistence also for you. Then you give it name here. So here, the reason why we are writing this table is because we want to rename the table from being tutorial to tutorials, and then we wanted to have our first initial, which is T, to be lowercase, instead of being tutorial as it is written here, because if you make it tutorial capital letter, you're going to have problems actually with Linux servers. They will never see that file. Yes, so we have done this. Then inside we need three or four variables here. Private variable. So you see we are doing encapsulation right now. So we needed setters and getters later. So private lang ID. Next is what? Private string title. Title of what? Title of the tutorial. Then private string what? I think did it publish or something? I forgot what is here. Let's see. Yes, description and published. Description, then private string what? Published. So these are the variables we needed, and at the same time these are the columns that are going to be that will serve this table. There are columns under this table tutorials, but then we needed other annotations to specify our primary key, whether auto incremental or what. Are we there? So to do that, we now need another annotation that says at what? At ID from Jakarta persistence. Then you needed another one that says at generated value. Then you specify how you want your generated value. You now say strategy, which is equals to generated value, capital G, generated type, dot what? Identity. This makes it what? This makes your primary key auto incremental. It makes your primary key. And what is your primary key? ID, right? Auto incremental. Are we there? Then we done. Let's run this and see what will happen. Then we'll make some corrections and continue. So that means, well, by the time we run this application, when it runs correctly, it's going to create a table for us, and it's going to create all these IDs, and it will represent them with the annotations given and all that, the primary key and the rest. So to do that, you come back to this, and then you click what is it? You click on this to run. It will start running right now. Yes, it is running. It is giving, once you see this spring, that means your application started running, and the spring installation is correctly done. And then it is representing, please, who knows about this Hikari? Anybody with idea on Hikari? I asked you to check on it, right? Hikari data source. Okay, forget about it, please. Don't confuse yourself. So it has run completely. Then let's check. If I say show table, can you see tutorials here? Then let's check to describe this table, or to check first. Let's select what is there. If anything is there, we see. If it is not, we see blank. I'm selecting it. Nothing, but it says description, ID, description, published, and title. Most likely it represented all these columns based on alphabetical order, the arrangement, right? You know, ours wasn't. The arrangement was ID, title, description, published from our IDE here, right? From our entity, is it not? Isn't it? ID, title, description, published. So it has represented like in kind of a form of alphabetical order. Then now let's describe to see what's there. Yes, can you see our auto incremental? It's represented is long is being represented in database as big int. Alright, that's good. Let me stop this video as well, and then